on the return leg. I feel a lot better. I can almost taste the gin. It's very warm, so very looking forward to pouring gin over that ice. And I've got a bit of tonic water left, enough to keep me going until I get to Woolies on Monday and get a replenishment of supplies that Coles couldn't deliver, unfortunately. Also, Coles this week, I was home, but they just left the bags of groceries outside the house. They didn't even try to open the gate. It wasn't locked, so I wasn't impressed with that. I think they turned up late because I had a lie down. I waited for the time that they were supposed to show, and they must have turned up a little later. But you know, you don't want anything sitting out in the street in this sort of weather. I mean, it's there were refrigerated items there, and they should really make an effort to deliver it to your front door. They could have yelled out. They could. Didn't hear the truck turn up, which you normally would do. So that's the first time that's happened. So what I'll have to do is tick the box saying that I want an authorised delivery, you know, that has to be authorised by me. I mean, they never had me sign anything in the past. It just means that they need to try to get you, contact you, because I'm always around. Anyway, it worked out all right. But like I said, in this heat, the last thing you want is groceries just sitting out in the street. So that was a bit slack. Like I say, it'd be great when Woolworths finally opened the store at the corner of Cook Highway and Trinity Beach Road. That'll be brilliant. So that'll be the closest major supermarket to me. One up currently the Coles is, I mean, it's not that far, but it's far enough. It's so it's a little inconvenient. This one will be walking and biking distance quite easily, so that's going to be great. But it won't be open, from what I can gather online, until late next year, which seems a very, very drawn out time frame, but you get used to that up here. Whew. Like I say, this is sapping my energy. It would be much nicer walking to the beach, that's for sure. A bit cool, a bit of a breeze. But like I said, I should have actually got Steve to drop me off at that liquor lounge on the way back home yesterday, because I passed by the liquor lounge. So. Oh boy. That's one of the things I've actually ordered with Kmart too, is to get an evaporative cooler, just a personal cooler. I mean, they're not very efficient, but it's run by battery, so I'm just thinking I wanted something that was battery powered that I could use as cooling, just if the nightmare scenario occurs and we lose power. I just couldn't sleep in this weather without a fan, and a standard fan would do. I might look around for one of those as well, but I've just included in the purchases I've made. Got some glassware and that, as well as the big items, which was the office chairs. Got 2 of those. I figure I'll probably need 2, and it's just a redundancy if and when the one of them breaks down. At least I'll have another one as a backup, and use another room anyway. Wouldn't mind having another desk I could use in the back room, but there's not that much on Gumtree at the moment. So, and I've got a washing machine arriving too. So it's had very good reviews. So hopefully it'll be good. The thing about Kmart is, if you've got problems, they won't stuff you about. If I've got an issue with something, I'm sure they'll just replace it, so it won't be an issue. So that's one of the reasons I went with them, because I've had issues with deliveries, broken deliveries in the past, vases and things, and they just basically credited me the value of the whole item. They just don't want the hassle. So, like I say, you're pretty well covered. But I can still use the washing machine. It's just that if it continually tries to run a full spin cycle, it will destroy itself, because it just, everything's sort of misaligned so much with the tub that it just vibrates violently in the spin cycle. So I think it's best I just got rid of it. So anyway, not sure I'm going to do with the one that's there, the Simpson. Maybe Dale, my handyman, would want to take it, and he might want to try to fix it himself. Or John, my next door neighbour, might be interested. They might want them for parts, if nothing else. So you never know, probably worth asking anyway before I just turf it, because there actually is free access to the tip at the moment. Usually $10, but for about a week I think it's free. So, whew. Wow, yeah, that humidity, that's the killer. Definitely splash my face with water once I get back home. But now I'm almost 3/4 done with this particular walk, so that's good. It's probably another 10-minute walk from the top of Gannett Street to my place, so it's not far. And we're almost there now, Gannett. Yeah, I don't think I would have handled riding even the e-bike today particularly well. There's a lot of stuffing around with the chain and removing the battery and crap like that. So, like, the battery's held up again. I looked at unless the gauge is incorrect, it's showing 3 bars out of 5. It's unbelievable, that battery. It is a good quality Samsung battery, but didn't expect it to drain so slowly. So quite impressed. I had to spray them to get them away. They raised their wings, obviously, in a sign to basically back off. But I mean, I can't even get in and out of my house. It's ridiculous. I might have to contact the council. Maybe they should need to move the nest somewhere, because this is just crazy. It's just not where they should be nesting, and they're getting worse. I sprayed right at them. They didn't move that much. I was quite surprised. I thought they'd rush away, but they didn't. And they came straight back to my gate when I shut the gate and stopped spraying them. I mean, it's a bit frightening, because I know they can do you a bit of damage. They've got barbs on the sides of their wings, and when they're in that mood, they can attack. So, yeah, I think it's not good enough. You can't have that happening just outside your door. That's crazy. So I've never been held as hostage by a bloody bird before. God, first time for everything in the world, I guess. But you know, you strike the wrong pulver and they can become very aggressive, and you know, you just need, it's nice to have nature around you, but we don't all cohabitate peacefully from time to time. So, oh, it's warm. Got to go back to Cairns again, my 1 week weekly bus trip. Not looking forward to that. Well, at least it'll be aircon. It is warm again, and as usual, the same pattern forming. We just cannot cop any rain here. There's rain all around us according to the radar, but it never seems to fall here. And this pattern has been carrying on for several weeks. It's very frustrating. And because if we got a decent dump of rain, it would just clear the air out so much and at least give us maybe 48 hours of respite from the unrelenting heat. So, and it just gets worse for me as time goes on because it wears you down, because the things like heat rashes just get worse and worse. And I've got a rash, I won't even tell you where it is, but you wouldn't want it where I've got it, I'll put you that way. It is not nice, and that's my latest intimidation. So, yeah. Weather up here up until this point, about 6 years, I've got to say overall, Cairns weather's been better than what I would have expected, but boy, the last month has not been pleasant. I'm not going to be bullshit anybody who's contemplating moving here. This is unusual though. Like I say, if a Filipino nurse is complaining about the weather and she's been here 3 months, I think that puts it into perspective. Philippines ain't known as a particularly cold archipelago of islands. We had a little bit of rain down here in Cairns. It's more you could say of Puara Beach. One thing I forgot to mention, last night had an unpleasant visitor at about 12:30 a.m. In the dark. I got the fan going full blast and the aircon, and there's something crawling on my leg. So it's not a particularly pleasant feeling in the middle of the night. And so I get up, turn on the light, and you guess what? There's a bloody cockroach right in the middle of my bed, on the bed sheets. So I got disposed of that fairly quickly. And so it's not just the bird life that's out to get me, and also the insects are giving me a hard time. So yes, I don't know if these things come in 3. I might be up for another shock at some stage. Hopefully not. But yeah, not very pleasant having a cockroach do that. It's the first time it's ever happened to me, and hopefully the last. Strange, because you think that a cockroach would not be attracted to circulating air or air conditioning, which should be cooler and not really conducive to them being active. But I guess this cockroach might have had an identity crisis. I don't know. I was under the impression I had a 9 a.m. appointment today, and as it turned out it was actually a 12:30 appointment, but luckily they squeezed me in earlier, so I still spent a bit more than an hour and a half longer waiting because I got there so early. But now it's about 1:30 or so in the afternoon. It's very warm, so I'm looking forward to getting to the supermarket, then getting back home and having my coffee. But that's the first time I've absolutely mangled the appointment time. Totally stuffed it up. Very embarrassing. It's an overcast Thursday around 1 o'clock, and I'm just heading to the local shops. I've got to get some medication and also some booze, so couldn't be bothered taking the e-bike. It looks a little threatening. There's waves of showers coming across, so I'll just walk instead. Gee, I haven't been on that e-bike for about a month. It's just ridiculous. So it's been a long time. No sign of the plover bird, which is good. And NBN were out earlier today, and when I first got up, there was no internet just after 6 o'clock. They'd supposed to be finished the maintenance up till 6 a.m, but obviously it dragged on a little longer. And the only sign of them being there is a witch's helmet in the middle of the road, and that's it. So I'm not sure if they're finished, but the witch's helmet's still there, so maybe they forgot to take it. Anyway, it's good to get out. I've been housebound and I really need to have a walk, and like I say, Steve puts me to shame with his long walks, and his wife walks even more than he does. So they're getting out and about and doing stuff, and I know I'll feel better for it. God, you see them everywhere. The electric scooters, they're huge at the moment. Apparently there was a guy, a Brisbane guy, who actually was hit with an incredible fine. I presume it's a fine and not a custodial situation, but he was going 94 kilometres per hour on an electric scooter without wearing a helmet. So it's not surprising they came down hard on someone like that. That's a very dangerous thing to do, not just to him but to other people. I mean, you know, they're harder to see than cars. You can't hear them really, so you know, he could have hurt someone quite easily, I guess. So you've got to think about that aspect of it. What if it's got to do with the NBN here? No idea. Anyway, I got my new washing machine delivered yesterday, plus a couple of office chairs. And it took a while for me to get the first office chair done, to construct it, but the main hassle with it was just putting on the back. It was really hard to align the holes and the screws. That once I worked it out, it was pretty simple actually. Surprising how easy it is actually to construct one of those chairs. So it wasn't too hard. I've still got to do the other one, but there's no rush with that, and it does feel a lot more comfortable than the other one I had. So pretty happy with that. So that was an improvement and well worth doing. But I've unpacked the washing machine, but I haven't actually installed that yet. I don't think it's going to be that difficult. It only actually has one hose for cold water, so it must have an internal heater in it, so it doesn't work the same as the old Simpson with a hot and cold input. It's just a cold water input. So I might try doing it to getting it going tomorrow. I was hoping to do it today, and I was hoping that my handyman Dale would be around, but he hasn't showed up. So he said he rescheduled from Tuesday to Thursday today, but no sign of him. So I thought it would have been good to have him there, because he could just help me lift it off its base and just make some adjustments. But I might be able to handle it myself. It doesn't seem that difficult, so I'll have a go at it tomorrow, and hopefully it's all in working order. It looks okay. Be a big upgrade on the one I've had. Apart from the fact the Simpson's only a 5.5 kilo capacity, this is a 7.5. This is a front loader, much more efficient use of water and electricity, so it's cheaper to run, and probably better with space, because a top loader takes up a little bit more space. You've got the top of the actual washing machine you can put stuff on with a front loader. So I had one of them in my flat in Melbourne. I had a front loader. It's the only time I've ever had one. It was fine. Anyway, I bet you I'll feel better for doing this. It's still humid though. I mean, even though it's cooled down because of the rain, the humidity levels are still high. So I wouldn't say it's super pleasant weather, but it's okay. So I think we're going to have rain until Monday, according to the Weather Bureau. So in a way, it might have been easier coming up here on the e-bike. I was just a bit worried it might rain, but that really just hasn't even happened. It just hasn't even threatened, really. So, phew. Just don't feel much energy. I think humidity tends to sap you of energy anyway. My newer capsicum bush is actually doing pretty well. It's actually growing much bigger fruit than the established one that I've got. So this was only planted, say, about 3-4 months ago, and it's become quite a large plant. And I've actually staked it. And it's producing some decent sized fruit, not as big as commercially available, but a much more usable size than the tiny ones that I tend to get from the other plants. So that's not bad. It seems quite happy. My lemon tree still seems to be alive in spite of the fact that the largest branches have died and there's just new shoots. But the new shoots look fairly healthy, so it may appreciate the change of location into a pot. We'll see. It's fairly well drained soil, so it shouldn't be getting any root rot. So we'll see. I just got to feed it, as apparently citrus plants really do like to be fed quite regularly. So I'll give it a bit of liquid fertiliser. There's some cow manure on the top layer, but there's nothing in the actual potting mix. I know Dale looked at it with disdain when he saw the potting mix. It was cheap. I bought it in bulk, and it's not hard to add fertiliser and things to those sort of mixes anyway. So, but yeah, Osmocote is obviously a better mix. It's the best potting mix I've come across anyway. But of course it comes from Bunnings, and there's logistical problems with Bunnings for me getting stuff delivered. West farmers are very greedy with their delivery charges, I think, and they've put themselves out of competition with other people like Kmart. I think Kmart are more competitive. Anyway, that's their business decision. They're making squillions. They don't feel any threat to their business at the moment, so they can continue on charging like wounded bulls. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever, and either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great.